Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Pranic World Festival speaker series. We're here at the Eden Pranic Center in Cocore, Italy. And Providence has shone its light on us because we have the opportunity to have Raki present her sharing with us again, because we had such strong technical difficulties earlier. So we have the opportunity and have set up a really good sound scenario now, for sure. So for those of you who joined us earlier and were disappointed because you couldn't hear her beautiful sharings and her amazing stories, we're welcoming her back again. And we've tested everything out. We know that we have good sound this time. So thank you, everyone, for your patience and bearing with us as we make miracles happen here in the countryside of Italy. For those of you who are joining online, you can choose your language of preference by clicking the world logo, the globe logo at the bottom of your screen, and choose your language of preference. Those of you who are listening in person also, please connect to the Wi-Fi and then also to the pranicfestivalworld.com, and you will click on Raki again to listen to her presentation. So Raki, thank you for joining us again and shining your beautiful smile with us. I'm going to just remind you to speak slowly and clearly for our translators. And I'm very much looking forward to sharing this next hour with you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to have been given this opportunity to speak to all of you wonderful people. My deep and utmost gratitude to Nicholas, to all the organizers, the volunteers, the technical people, and everyone else who's involved in making this possible. I want to thank all of the speakers for coming here and all of the speakers who are online, who are sharing their wisdom and experience with us. Last but not least, I want to thank all the people who have come here, from where all the places they've come from for this festival. And together we are creating this wonderful space. And thank you so much again. I'm completely honored to be here to speak to all of you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Raki Chari. I'm also known as the Breatharian Yogini on YouTube. In a couple of weeks, I will complete 4 years on the Breatharian path. During this whole time, I have not had any solid food. And over these years, I have been training my body to continue to lighten up more and more. Because of this lightening up on my diet and having a cleaner body, I have seen amazing things happen with energy. I'm not just talking about how energetic I feel, but about energy itself. Today, I would like to talk to you about how I experienced energy on my breatharian path. So just to add before I continue, before my breatharian path, I could not feel any energy. I did not even know what it meant to feel energy. I think it should be quiet now. All right, so as I was saying, so I just wanted to say that for my breatharian path, I could not feel any energy, nor did I know what that meant. So I will go step by step on how I experience energy on my breatharian path. First, I started feeling energy when I started my breatharian path. When I did the initiation, I started feeling the energy and living on pranic energy. And then a few years after that, I started seeing energy around me and on people. And then I was able to start manipulating energy. So that's how that happened. And I'm going to go step by step and explain what I'm talking about. So let me go into detail about these 3 levels of energy that I experienced. So when I first started my breatharian journey, my body was feeling the energy around it. It also started living on pranic energy, and I can feel the energy that was coming into my body. I remember one day I was sitting down, and all of a sudden, there was a burst of energy that came into my crown chakra, all the way into my body. This had never happened to me before. It was all very new for me. I cannot believe that my body was actually living on pranic energy. I went from disbelief that I was living on prana to actually believing I was living on prana. I remember my friend, I'm going to give you a story about that. So I remember my friend, Grace. Hi, Grace. She came over to where I was in California. During her visit, she told me that I was living on prana. And I was like, but I'm having all this liquid food. How can I be living on prana? And she was like, you know, anyone else who has the amount that you have would probably be in the hospital for lack of nourishment. That kind of shocked me. It also made me feel good about the possibility that I could actually be living on pranic energy. It took some time, but after a while, I stopped doubting that I was living on prana, because we are the creators of our reality. And if we keep having doubts, then I thought maybe I'm pushing it away from me. So I felt the pranic energy coming into my body, and I would visualize it nourishing me. As the year went by, I slowly found that my body was not comfortable with heavy soups, and soon my diet became lighter and lighter. Around this time, another incident happened. A dear friend of mine named Jason, hi Jason, who is very spiritual and he can see auras. He and I were in Bali, and we were sitting around one day and he told me to look up at the trees. And he says, "Don't you see the aura on the leaf?" And I said, "No." Then he said, "Look at the tip of the leaf, the tip of the leaf. Don't you see the aura on the tip of the leaf?" And I was like, "No, I can't see any aura." And he kept asking me to look to see if I can see the aura. And I kept saying no. I was a bit annoyed that I could not see the aura, and a bit awed by him that he could. I wish that I could see energy the way that he sees it. I was always fascinated by people who had this ability. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So now let's fast forward a few months from then, and my diet became even lighter. I continued with my fasting, meditation, yoga, pranayama. So this is about 2 to 3 years into my Breatharian path. I began to see energy around me. I could see the aura around the trees, aura around the leaves, and around people. I used to go for walks and just look up at the trees and look up at the leaves. And I found it fascinating that I could actually see energy. Then slowly, I began to see auras around people. When I get into a certain frame of mind, I can actually see the energy that's all around us is buzzing around us very quickly, rapidly. It's like we're bathing in pranic energy all around us. So forgetting that I could not see aura earlier, I was sitting with another friend of mine one day, and he and I were sitting, and I told him, "Look up at the tree. Don't you see the aura? Because I can see it." And he was like, "No, I can't see the aura." And I said, "Look at the leaf. Look, look, look. Can't you see it?" And he's like, "No, I can't see it." And he kept saying no. And then I realized that I was doing the same thing to him that my friend did to me. It was like, I can see it, so everyone else should be able to see it. Now let's fast forward another year or so, and that will bring us to now. As I have lightened up on my diet even more, I have been having experiences with energy communicating with me. One time, this energy came to me and took me to a world where I was able to move a chair just by thought alone, without touching it. The chair moved, and this energy that took me to this place told me that I moved it. And I was like, no way. There's a window there. It's the breeze that moved the chair. The energy said, then try it again, and you will see that you can move the chair. So then I thought, and I told the chair to move, and the chair moved. Now, this incident that happened was in another world. So I just thought it was weird. Like you see this in scary movies where the chair just moves on its own. So I thought it was weird. But then I thought that I should look into this. I mean, there's probably a reason why this energy came to me and told me I could move a chair. So I started looking into telekinesis. And for those of you that may not know what telekinesis is, it's basically you can move objects without touching them. with your energy and your thought alone. So recently I have been able to manipulate energy. If you have seen my latest video, I did one on telekinesis. I can feel the energy in my fingers, in my hands. So then I've started moving objects without touching them. I've been practicing moving these things without touching them. I just started, so it's not like I can move a chair, but baby steps. So as I continue on this path, I'm excited to see what else is going to happen. However, I continue to do 5 things that have helped me on this process. So I'll mention the 5 things. Number 1 is meditation and pranayama. I've just clubbed them together. I do that every day. Number 2 is exercise. Exercise every day, even if it's just going out for a walk. Sometimes I don't have access to a gym, or sometimes I don't get a chance to exercise. So it's going out for a walk. Number 3 is being out in nature. When I say being out in nature, if you're in an urban environment, which I am most of the time, I'm talking about just stepping outside of your home and going outside and getting some energy outside. Number 4 is gratitude in my heart for all the things that I have, the smallest things, the biggest things. And number 5 that I do is I keep exercising my feasting ability. When I say feasting, I mean feasting on pranic energy. So how do I exercise my feasting ability? The number 1 thing I do is intermittent fasting every day. Number 2 is 24-hour dry fast once a week. Number 3 is 3.5-day dry fast once a month. If I'm not, because I'm traveling, not able to do it once a month, I do it at least once a quarter. So those are the 5 things I haven't always done, but as I continue on this path, I realize that those 5 things are really important. So as you can see, life is never boring on the breatharian path. The universe is always sending me signals that I'm on the right path. I have 3 recent incidents of the universe communicating with me, and I would like to share that with you. The first incident is when I was in Belgrade. I made friends with a woman who was also traveling by herself, as I was also traveling by myself. It was really funny because I would always run into her in this particular intersection. So this whole big city of Belgrade, I wouldn't run into her anywhere. I would just run into her at this particular intersection. So what are the chances of she and I running into each other at this particular intersection? Not 1 block before this intersection or 1 block after this intersection, but right at this intersection. What are the chances? So that was the first experience I want to share. The second one is I was in London and I met this guy on the street just randomly. He struck up a conversation with me and we became friends. The last few days before I was leaving London, he wanted to meet up and head to the beach because the weather was so fabulous. But I got busy because my son came into town, so I could not meet him. So I sent him a message saying, it's okay. Somewhere in this universe, our paths will cross. And I just left it at that. Believe it or not, the very next day, out of this whole big city of London with millions of people everywhere, I was walking on this path and not many people were there. And there was a path that just intersected. So our paths would cross. He, my friend, was walking across and I just saw him. So our paths did cross the very next day. So anyways, I thought that was incredible. And so did my friend. So he went out and bought a lottery ticket thinking that there's something that's weird going on. So he bought a lottery ticket. He didn't win, but he bought one anyways. And the last recent experience I want to share with you was I was in Florence and I was just walking back to my place and I hear a guy behind me and he's saying something to me in Italian. So I turn around and he comes to me and I tell him no Italiano, but he continued to talk to me in Italian. So again, I said, no Italiano. Then he spoke in English and said, what do you do? I was like, I thought he meant like, what do I do for a living? And then he clarified that he had not experienced anyone with this type of energy. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, I said, you just saw me from behind. He says, yeah, I can see your energy. And he says that you have this circular energy about you. And most people have a flat energy. And he was looking at me like he was looking at a ghost. He was just shocked. So he wanted to know what I did to have this energy. So then I told him, I don't eat solid food. He was a bit shocked. I'm like, okay, really? I said, yeah. I told my dear friend Veronica, hi Veronica, about this incident. And she told me that these are just validation from the universe, letting me know that I'm on the right path. So I get a lot of these validations, but I was just sharing these 3 validations with all of you. So if I can recap my journey, I just want to say, before my breatharian journey, I could not feel energy. I didn't know what it meant to feel energy. I was kind of blocked to all that. And then when I started my breatharian journey, I was able to feel the energy and live on pranic energy. And then a couple of years into my journey, I was able to see energy. And now, as we are, I'm starting to manipulate energy and move objects without touching them, with my energy and thought alone. This universe is amazing. Our bodies are amazing. We are amazing beings. We don't realize the power that we have to create our reality. That part of us has been shut down. I think more and more people are awakening to the powers that we as human beings possess. And as that starts happening more and more, the world we live in will also change. So with that, thank you so much. Together, let's change the world. And thank you so much for listening to my presentation and my stories. And now if anyone has any questions.
Rocky, we do have one question from someone online. When you were telling your story, you were saying that it was happening in another world. They want to know what you mean by that. And their question is it like astral projection?
That's a very good question. I wish I really knew the details. I just know that this energy in the past has come inside and has made shifts within my body, like inside my crown chakra, inside my brain. It's gone inside and done some shifts in my crown. It just goes in and makes adjustments. And that's all I can say. One time it came into my heart, expanded and crushed my heart, expanded and crushed it. And I felt like I was going to die. And I was telling the energy, go away, don't do this to me because you're killing me. And then it would go away. But then when I would go back to sleep again, it would come back again and start doing this to my heart. And I kept fighting with it. And then finally I surrendered and I said, fine, do what you want. And it did what it needed to do and it left. So I think that this energy, normally people would say it's in a dream world, but it's not in a dream world. So I mean, I was in that when that happened, I was in my bed. I was like, oh my God, I mean, I was there, you know. But this particular incident with the chair, I don't really know how to say it. I guess you can say it was in a dream or something, but it was in some other dimension that I had gone to with this energy, is what I can say. So yeah, I don't know.
Thank you, Raki, for your beautiful answer. There's another question kind of relating to a similar thing, talking about this energy that you're describing. A listener wants to know what the energy is like. Are you receiving it into your body? Is it concentrated in a certain place in your body? What is your experience of this energy?
This energy has happened on a few different occasions. So the first time it happened, I was sleeping and it was at the top of my head and it went knock, knock. And sounds weird. And I was like, no, you're not coming inside my body. And it was like, and I said, well, if you're not a safe energy, I don't want you inside my body. Like, and then I don't know, somehow it just came in and it came in and it made the adjustments. Like I was saying, it was in my throat, it was in my heart, it went down, and then it just went out. And I was so freaked out about this that I had to go to the bathroom after that. And I couldn't go. I'm like, oh my God, what is this energy? Like, it's going to be over there, you know? But then I went to the bathroom, I shut the door, as if shutting the door is going to make a difference because it's energy, like, you know, but I shut the door, I was like, oh my God. And then I just put the covers over my head. And like, oh my God, that was the weirdest experience. And then it continued to happen at different times. So the time that I'm explaining where it took me to a different dimension was when the energy stopped coming to me. And I was like, why did it stop? Because it was helping me along my path. Like it was doing things to me. So then I went into this really deep meditative thing. And then went really into deep meditation and the energy came by my leg. So I felt it by my leg. I'm like, oh, you're here. And it was like, yeah. And then it took me wherever it took me by the rocking chair or that chair that was next to the window. So that's the energy. I mean, I don't really know how to describe it, but that's how I felt it.
Wonderful. Thank you for that answer, Raki. I have another question from an online listener. Can you tell us about your pranayama exercises, a little what they are, maybe for those who are not familiar with pranayama, or specifically what type of pranayama you are doing?
So I do all types of pranayama. I mean, all types of pranayama, but the one that I do most often is the full yogic breathing is what I do. There's alternate nostril breathing, there's Brahmari, there's Kapalabhati, there's all of the other ones that I do a little bit of those as well. But the one that I always kind of my go-to pranayama is the full yogic breathing because you can do it anywhere. Alternate nostril, like if you're sitting there and you're doing this, it may look weird. But the full yogic breathing, you can be doing it without anybody knowing.
Wonderful. Thank you, Aki.
Thank you.
Are there any questions that you have from anyone who is in the room with you there?
Does anyone have any questions here?
Yes, did you notice how you're perceiving your body now? I mean, the changes that happen during this process and time, the changes in the structure of your body, cellular and molecular structure of your body, do you perceive changes?
So the question is, do I perceive changes in my structure or molecular body? Am I perceiving any changes since I've been on this path?
Yes, of course.
Right? And a concrete thing would be that my body has shifted where it needs less liquids, less heavy liquids, less dense liquids. So in that concrete sense, I feel that. In a non-concrete way, I feel that I think I just have become gentler, easier, not uptight. I don't have energy stuck inside of me. I feel that is causing, I feel like I have kind of let go of a lot. So I feel that I am a little bit more easygoing than I used to be. So in that way, yeah. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Does the environment of anywhere you are, like society, city, beach, or here, does it impact you a lot? And your journey and the people, your parents? Yeah.
So the question is, does the location impact me a lot, like where I am? Whether I'm at a beach or a city. And then the second part of that question is that if I'm with certain types of people, does that impact me? So let me answer the first part of the question. I've always grown up in urban environments. So I'm kind of used to a lot of the urban stuff that goes on. But yes, as I'm on this path, I was in London and I was like in the heart of London. And like there's like millions of tourists like all over the place. And it was like just right outside. And I can just see these restaurants are full and people are walking and it's just constant noise. And I was like, you know, this is okay, because I was there for a month. I'm like, this is okay for a month, but I don't think I can be in this environment forever. So maybe in the past I could have been, and I would have thought that was great, but it does impact me. And I do find that when it does impact me, I kind of shut myself out. So when I was in London, I would shut the window, shut the curtains and just shut everything and just be with myself for a while. So just to kind of get my energy and all that energy, try to make sure it doesn't kind of affect me that much. And so the second part of the question is people. Yeah, for the most part, people don't really affect my energy. But of course, the ones that are dear and near to you have a way of getting to you. So I have become, and that's another way how I have dealt with it. Because in the past, if the same incident would happen, I would get very upset. But now when this incident happens, it's almost like it doesn't almost even affect me. It just kind of goes. And I'm able to just let it go. It doesn't get stuck anywhere. I'm just able to let it go. And so I'm less and less bothered by people like doing their things around me. Yeah, my family. Yeah. Thank you for that question. Any other questions?
Maybe to tell all of us how important is what is our intake,
Yes, so from the audience, just to reiterate that what you put inside your body is going to affect your body. So the heavier stuff you put in is going to affect your body. The lighter you become on your diet, the easier, and actually the lighter you become on your diet, your body can actually start glowing from the inside out, because there's so many things that our body can do. Like I mentioned, the telekinesis, there's so many things that our body can do that we have no idea. And if we start lightening up on our diet, then those things will come up, that we will be able to do more things than we could possibly imagine.
Raki, we have a question from an online listener.
Okay.
Their question is, how do you manage with money, is their exact words, but they want to know basically, what is your relationship with money and work, and has that changed for you, your perspective on that, since you've been on a pranic diet?
Well, I have been very fortunate, and I say very fortunate, that I don't have the stresses of life that most people have, where they go to work and have a boss, or they have a business, and all those stresses. I haven't had those stresses in my life. I retired very early in my life, so I didn't have to deal with all those stresses on my breatharian path. So, I'm grateful and thankful for the fact that I don't have the stresses. And actually, honestly, if I had those stresses, I don't think I can be on this path, because I think when you have stress, you want to eat, and it'd be very difficult. So because I don't have stresses, I think I have the luxury of being on this path.
Thank you, Raki. We have another question of, because you've been on this liquid pranic path for 4 years now, someone wants to know how much liquids you drink each day.
So I have about a liter or liter and a half, depending on how hot it is, because it's so hot here in Italy. Maybe 2 liters, I don't know. But it depends. So maybe 1 to 2 liters a day of water. And then the rest would be like a nut milk, or I should say vegan milk. And then every now and then juices, but I take the fruit and suck the juice out of the fruit and throw away the fiber. And that's how I have my juice, because I think it's easier on my stomach to have it that way.
Thank you, Raki. Someone wants to know if you have children. I think you've mentioned that you do have a child, and what type of diet do you have for them? Are they also on a pranic diet?
So I have a son. He's 22 years old, so he's Mr. Independent. He was the one who was actually, I got an apartment for him in London because he was studying there for a semester. That's why I was in London. Anyways, so I raised him as a vegetarian. I grew up eating meat, but I was a vegetarian when I had him. So I raised him as a vegetarian. And the time that I started my breatharian path, 6 months after, he became a vegan. He does not understand all the stuff that I'm doing, but he's very young and he's a vegan. So.
Thank you, Raki. If there are any more questions from the audience who's with you, we can take questions from there.
Any more questions that you guys have here?
During this path, have you had any diseases?
During what?
During your path, did you have any kind of disease or disorder, and how you have managed this?
So the question is, during my life, have I had any diseases?
During your pranic path?
During my pranic path, if I had any diseases? No, not at all. No. No. I haven't had colds or anything. Yeah. I mean, if they come, if I do a dry fast, it goes away in 24 hours, which is like a few years ago that I had. Yeah.
She had like, so you did a process probably with bacteria, and then did you also have like ups and downs in, because you then become liquidarian? Did you have ups and downs with food as well? Something that you thought, I'm eating now, or was it straight away you became liquidarian? Was it like a bumpy road as well?
So the question is, after my process, did I straight away go on liquids, or did I have solid food in between? So the answer to that question is, I have stayed on liquids the whole time, never had solid food, desperate for solid food, but didn't have it. I told myself for 1 year, I'm not going to have solid food. So with sheer determination, I went through that 1 year. And how I would do that is I would look at pictures of food and look at other people having food and not feel so good about not having the food, be almost addicted to food and just look at restaurants and wonder, what kind of food is that restaurant serving? What kind of food is that restaurant? Oh, they're having pizza. I want that pizza. Those kinds of things. Yeah. So it wasn't a smooth path. I had my ups and downs, but I stuck to the liquids. Yeah. Any other questions here?
Do you have some suggestions for that overcome the stress that sometimes people have, and then take some food, maybe to use those 5 points that you were saying? I mean, what is the tool, if you can recommend something to overcome stressful situations and not take food?
Good question. Okay, the question here from the audience is that, what have I done in stressful situations? What did I do? What tools did I use that I didn't go to food, solid food? What were the things that I did? So I always had my go-to favorite liquid. So if someone was having a pizza and I was salivating over that pizza, I would say, okay, I'll have this wonderful, beautiful, thick smoothie instead. And I will satisfy myself with this, and I will fill my stomach with this. And that's what I did. But if that did not work, and I really, 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 really wanted that pizza, and this was like, I don't want this anymore, I want that pizza. So what I would do, and I did a video on this, YouTube video, is because my body couldn't take it, okay? It's my tongue and my mouth that wanted it, right? And my mind was like, in turmoil, right? So what I did, the video that I shot, I was traveling somewhere and there's pizzas everywhere. And so what I did is I went into this pizza place early in the morning, kind of when nobody was there. And I sat down, I ordered the pizza, okay? And I sat down and I was like, okay, nobody's here, so no one's going to see me doing what I'm going to do. I sat down and I was like, okay. And I ordered this pizza and I put everything around me so no one can see what I was doing. And then I was eating the pizza, I put it in my mouth, I was just enjoying this pizza. And then I had this thing where I would spit it out. So I would chew it, enjoy it, and spit it out. Chew it, enjoy it, and spit it out. So my mouth was so happy. And my heart was happy. And my stomach was happy. And I was happy. And so we were all happy. And so that's one of the things I did to overcome not having solid
Cravings.
food,
Oh,
my
yeah.
cravings, yeah. Because the more you say you can't have it, the more your body wants it. And the more it wants it, then you feel like you're in deprivation. And then you just go through this downward spiral. So my way, and I think had I not had that option of putting things in my mouth and spitting it out, I don't think I would have been able to stay on this path, because the urge for food is just so strong. That how do you give it up? When someone, and pizza is my favorite, and someone sitting next to me having pizza, oh my God. So, anyways.
Thank you so much for this one, because it's kind of confirmation for me that
You know what they say? They say that they're going to make a breatharian restaurant. They're going to have all this food and you can taste it and just spit it out. Oh my God. Sometimes I go with my son, like in the past, like, and he'll order something and I'll say, okay, I'll taste it, right? Whatever he's ordered, I'll taste it, I'll spit it out. And I'm like, you know, if the chef saw what I was doing, he'll be like, what the hell is she doing? It's not compliments to the chef. But any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions online?
Hi, Rocky. So do you have any advice for people regarding moving through the emotional part of this pranic path? I think you just offered one beautiful suggestion for cravings, and there might be some other emotional aspects that are part of this path. Did you have any in particular for yourself? Did you have any emotional challenges?
I get asked that question a lot. And the question is whether I had emotional challenges for the audience here. And I don't really feel that I had any emotional challenges. I just had this addiction to food. That was my biggest challenge. But in terms of emotional, because keep in mind, before my breatharian path, which I didn't mention, I had detoxed my body so much. I had no idea about breatharianism, but I was just into detoxing. I had detoxed my body so much that when I came on my breatharian path, it was just kind of, oh, okay. You know, I didn't have too many emotional things that kind of came up. So I don't know. The only thing that came up was regarding food. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rocky.
Thank you.
I think we might have time for at least one more question. There's a question that someone wants to know what you were doing when you had that experience with your crown chakra, with the energy. Were you doing any part? Yes. Were you
When the
doing
energy coming into my body, when I first experienced the energy coming into my body?
Yes. Was there anything in particular that you were doing at that time?
I remember I was in the kitchen and there was a sliding door. So it faced, I was in, my back was to the backyard and I was just sitting there. And I don't know, I just felt this energy like coming. I wasn't really doing it. I was just relaxed and sitting there. And I just kept feeling this energy coming in. So nothing in particular. Maybe I was just very relaxed, just sitting there. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rocky. I think that is all of our questions, unless there's one last question from the room where you're at. Is there
Any last questions here? Yeah.
Yeah, you can keep it short if you want.
That's okay.
Like, what do you think about the celibacy? I feel like it's a trend to stay celibate. And what do you think about it?
Do I apply it to my life? Or what do I just think about it?
What do you think about it? So,
I don't really have, the question is, what do I think about celibacy? So I don't really think about celibacy. I don't have an opinion one way or the other if someone is celibate or not. So, yeah,
Do you apply it or?
I don't apply celibacy in my life. No. But if someone does, I don't know one way or the other, but that's not part of my life. Yeah. Anyone, any last questions? No? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of what kind of objects do you move?
What kind of what?
Objects do you move? With what did you start?
Oh, I started with a pinwheel. You know a pinwheel? Okay, so the question here, sorry, again, is what kind of objects do I move in telekinesis? So I said it's a pinwheel. So you take an eraser. I did a video on this on my YouTube channel. You take an eraser, I put a needle on top, and then I took foil and I put the foil on top, right? And I made sure there was no air, nothing, you know, and then I was manipulating and moving it. Yeah. So it's baby steps. So let's see, maybe I can do more things later.
Wonderful. Wow. Thank you, Raki, for sharing these stories and sharing your light, your beauty, your wisdom, your experiences, and your bright, shining smile with all of us here. We're very happy that we had the chance to welcome you back so we can all soak up your energy again. I think that's it for our presentation at this time. We'll be back again in an hour with our next speaker. So thank you everyone for joining online, and thank you everyone who is joining us here at the Eden Pranic Center in Cocore, Italy. Thank you, Raki.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.